The purpose of this video is to show you how to set up the vacuum for the Olive Chapel Swim Club pool. But in general, you can do this at any facility as far as setting up the vacuum system. In order to do the vacuuming process, you have to have 3 pieces of equipment. You have to have your vacuum head, your vacuum hose, and a pole that you can connect to the vacuum head so you can actually move the vacuum around inside the pool. First step is you want to connect the pole to the vacuum head. There's little clips, little butterfly clips on the side of this thing that you have to push in that correspond and line up with the pole so that it will hold the vacuum head to the pole and won't come off when it's inside the water. It's also important with your vacuum head, this is a rainbow vacuum head, that you have this piece here that is detachable. It needs to be in place so that you don't have to stick the hose directly in there. It keeps the hose connected firmly to the vacuum head, so you mitigate issues. Now, there's 2 pieces, 2 ends to this vacuum head. One end is blue. It's the same color as the vacuum head. It actually has a picture of the vacuum head on top of here. That's the end that connects to the vacuum head. So you connect it. The other end is the end that's going to connect inside the pool. Now, at this point in time, we could just put the hose inside the water, but if we do, this thing, as you can see, most people wrap up their vacuum hose, you're going to have a tangled up mess inside the water. So, in order to address that issue before you get inside the water and cause a lot of frustration while you're trying to vacuum, and since you need to move the vacuum around slowly to get all the debris, we're going to go ahead and stretch out this hose completely. So I'm going to walk with this hose away from where I'm going to be vacuuming. And while this process may seem tedious at this point in time, it actually is going to save you a lot of time when you're inside the water and a lot of frustration.
Katie. Yeah, it's for help.
Once you have your vacuum hose straightened out all the way, you're going to take your pole, make sure you're not hitting anything, especially if you're on the pool deck, and you're going to take the vacuum and place it directly inside the pool, making sure that everything stays connected. You do not want to put too much stress on the hose, as it could potentially pop off, and that would require you to start somewhat from scratch by pulling the pole back out. Now, the way the properties of water work is that the water level inside the hose, because there's a hole in the other end of the hose, the air is going to move through the hose as you put this inside the water, because the water level always wants to be at the same level inside the hose as it is in comparison between the hose and the regular water inside the pool. Now, you're going to push this hose down evenly, consistently, feed it down for 75 feet. You want to make sure you're doing this correctly the first time. This will save you a lot of frustration down the line. If you have air in your hose, you may have to possibly do this again. So it's best to just do it right the first time. Just basically do it 2 feet at a time. Feed the hose down while your hose is completely straightened out. The hoses can be a little heavy at first, especially if you have a long hose. Just put some energy into it. It requires some effort. But as you get good with this, you'll be able to just feed this hose down. Now, obviously it's during the summer right now, so I don't mind getting wet. During the winter, you may mind a little bit. So you're probably going to have to be a little more careful about how much you put your arms inside the water so that you don't get frostbite. Now, you will know if you did this correctly if you have water come through the other end. As you can see, water did not come through the other end. So I did not do this 100% correctly. So then I backtrack and I look at the hose and I see where the water is heavy in the hose versus where it's light inside the hose. So it starts to be light inside the hose about right here. So that means I did not do a great job right here of filling the hose completely. So then I will start to feed from here. Until I get all the water out. Like I said, 2 feet at a time works the best. You can see actually the air coming out the other end when the other end of the hose is actually underneath the water. And when you get to the other end of the hose, you know you did it correctly when the water starts coming through the other side. As you can see, the water's now coming through. All right. Now, this specific hose has an adapter on it right here that we glued on here so we don't lose it, which is always a good idea. And we need to connect it to our vacuum port. Now, we have these spring-loaded vacuum ports. There's a tab on the side. Push on that tab. And as long as there's no vacuum pressure, it will pop open because it doesn't require a lot of strength. But if the vacuum is on, then it seals itself shut. You would not be able to open it. You push on the tab, open it up. You stick the end of the hose in with it fully primed with water. And now that it's fully primed with water, you would go into the pump room and then you would turn your vacuum system on. And we'll continue this conversation at that point. Turn it off.